Good evening, everybody. How are you feeling tonight? You look amazing, and this is a wonderful, wonderful occasion for us all to be gathered together.
Please welcome our keynote speaker, DEBORAH FLINT.
I know that as Isaac was saying those wonderful words, you were all just saying, now I know who the chief complaint officer at the airport is. And you have my name, and you probably know how to find me. Good evening, everybody. How are you feeling tonight? You look amazing, and this is a wonderful, wonderful occasion for us all to be gathered together. So many community leaders here, our partners in labor, elected officials, dignitaries, community builders. It's really, really special. And of course, the stars are shining tonight. Let's hear it for all our awardees that are being recognized this evening. I thank Rosemary and Dwayne as well, and the Toronto Community Benefits Network for this really special opportunity for me to be with you here this evening. There are so many change agents around this room. Construction industry leaders, those that are running training centers, workforce development organizations, all of that and all the reasons that you are gathered here today or this evening is really, really important. The work of this organization and the work that we all have to do is not just important, I would say that it is existential. You know, many leaders of large corporations and small, you know, we read a lot of business cases and we learn like what our leadership practices and philosophies are going to be. And for myself in this industry, I've always considered that there is no static and status quo in an industry as complex and dynamic as aviation, and that, you know, leaders that sat and led, you know, Blockbuster, that didn't see the existential crisis that was facing them with the advent of streaming, or leaders such as Kodak, who didn't see the iPhone, or, you know, people in my family that are still committed to Samsung and they can't group text. But they didn't see that, you know what I'm talking about. You know, they didn't see the change and the threat that was upon them. And I think it's really important that every business leader contemplates that and contemplates how they reinvent their future, but also that we see it. I believe that the community network here does absolutely see the existential crisis that we are all facing as a community, and that each and every one of you are here tonight because you also see it. And you know that we can only solve those issues and face and work through those challenges by doing so together. Whether those are problems like climate change and creating environmental sustainability, being more resilient around our communities, whether it's income inequality and poverty, or the housing affordability, those that are suffering from homelessness or racism and discrimination. We are all facing these issues, but at the same time, we are also facing a time where we should be more ambitious because the opportunities are right here and more are on the horizon. If we simply look at our region, the GTA is expected to grow from 7 million people this year to over 10 million by 2046. an almost 50% increase in the population. We and here are the place to be. That we're the #1 area for venture investments in North America. And at Pearson Airport, a place where dreams are played out each and every day, where 50,000 people work doing incredible, important service to our communities, and also the place that is the second largest place of employment in the country of Canada. We see this as tremendous opportunity in front of us. But many of you and we know all too well that getting started and finding those opportunities is particularly difficult, not easy at all, especially for many Black, Indigenous, racialized people, including women, youth, and newcomers to our country. So there are two things that I'd like to leave you with tonight. The first one is to think about Toronto Pearson differently. And I don't mean, don't curse the airport when your flight is late. Think about the airport differently, right? Maybe also think about the airport differently if a certain airline sends your bags to MIA when they were supposed to be going to MBJ. That's not the airport. It's not the airport. I say that in jest, okay? Trying to get a little humor to you guys. So, at the end of the day, airports and airlines, we all work very closely together. But I do still suggest that, to see the airport a bit differently through my words tonight. Number one, maybe see Pearson in a different light regarding our commitment to the community and reflecting the community that we serve and that's around us through every part of how we lead and run the airport. And the second thing to think about Pearson differently is that we are building the airport of the future, and there is tremendous opportunity for each of you and the surrounding communities as part of that airport of the future. I could say a lot on stats on our programs and the things that we've done, but at the end of the day, all these programs are about changing lives. And the way that lives are changed as people travel from one part of the country to another, or they voyage into lands and to this country or others where they've never been before in search of opportunity, is the stories of the people that make the airport impactful. But we also have an opportunity to create systemic and large changing economic impact in what we do as an airport as well. And that's why programs like our Ready to Work program, which does a few things. Number one, it gives some specific job training to people, but also pre-vets people so they know that they are going to be able to be certified by the federal government in the security standards. And what this does is allow those employees to be able to get jobs faster, and for employers to reach out and to get to these employees very quickly, which they're looking to do. And it makes those employees in this program very attractive in the workplace. We launched this program just last summer, and we've had over 110 graduates. 60% of them are BIPOC women, and 100% of them remain in the jobs and the careers that they started a year ago. So we see a lot happening for that. And while I expect this to be bigger and bolder in the future, we have our flights that cross borders, but as an airport, what we're striving to do, and our mission is to make sure that we're knocking down barriers. In the past 5 years, we've invested several $1 million in our surrounding communities and helped and assist 7,300 people find secured and meaningful employment across the 400 employers that are at the airport. Employee and culture is one of the strategic pillars of our organization. Isaac spoke about the vision that we have for our airport today to put the joy back into travel by making Pearson the chosen place to fly and the chosen place to work. Employees and culture, not just for the 2,000 people that work directly for me and the GTAA, but also the 50,000 people that work across all the employers at the airport. And that's why we'll continue to work on strengthening the culture and the practices and the inclusion and the diversity and celebrating that by measuring it and creating supportive structures like our ERGs, the Women's Alliance, our Black Professional Network, and many others that when you think about the airport, And whether you are thinking about it from a sector perspective, or if you're potentially doing business with the airport, or you're a community partner with the airport and a stakeholder, or as a passenger, when you think about the airport and its ethos and who it is and what we stand for, you'll see that it's one that you can be proud of, because we stand for you and your communities and how we lead and for the future. And I hope that in seeing that, you will also join our movement, because for all that we do today, there is so much more for us to do tomorrow. And we know that there is power that comes from uniting our people, uniting places, and uniting our cultures. And through that, we believe that a stronger, more positive, and a bright and caring future truly can be had for all. So that feeds a little bit into the second thing that I hope that you take away tonight, and that is the strategy in front of us and the opportunity that it presents. You know, from a site that was 13 farmers' fields in 1938, less than 100 years ago, and last year, even after a very difficult pandemic period, Pearson Airport is the second largest airport for international traffic in all of North America. Pearson Airport, yep, we should be thankful for that. Those stats can seem very, it's a stat, may or may not mean that much, but when we think about the relative small population of Canada, and then the outsized impact of having the second largest international gateway of all airports, Miami, Los Angeles, Chicago, the New York airports, we have a lot to be proud of, right? And that is not just from this era, but for years of strategy that positioned us this way. We were also the #1 airport across all those large hubs in North America for customer experience. But it's where we're going that's really important. Last year, and this year we'll probably get to about 45, 47 million passengers that will travel through the airport. But the future is that in less than 10 years, that growth is forecast to accelerate significantly, almost to 65 million passengers. And we may surpass that in a very short amount of time, reflecting the strength of this region and its people and the potential that we all have in front of us. As we sit on land the size of ATL, Atlanta Airport, which has for a decade plus been the busiest airport in the world with over 100 million passengers, what I can say to you is this: the opportunities at the airport as we create the future is not just significant or large, it is generational. It is an opportunity for the generations to have at their forefront and to expand into. After many years of smaller investment, sweated assets, we have launched a plan that is going to help to drive that vision and those opportunities forward. We call it our LIFT plan. It's $10 billion, multi-billion dollars, perhaps more, of investment into all of our infrastructure to make sure that we meet the growth. But also, if you look at what the world's best airports are, and maybe some of you or all of you will start to look a little bit more at the industry and follow the different pages on social media, you'll see something about some of the landmark airports in the world, that they reflect the country's ambition, and they are a reflection of the country's capabilities to drive into the future in modern economies, embracing the opportunities that this global commerce and economy presents. So what we're leading here at Pearson in the years ahead, it will be the single biggest investment in the airport's history, positioning us so that we can be a beacon of being the greenest, most technologically advanced, and most passenger and employee-centric airport in the world. There will be a lot of projects that we build through 3 mega programs, and I could list many of them, from the new state-of-the-art terminal that we're going to build, the revitalization of our existing terminals, which I'm sure many of you would like, new airfield and electronics across the airport, major sustainability projects, and again, being a digital leader. But again, it's more than bricks and mortar. The excitement and the parameters, the indicators of success for what we're going to do is the success that's achieved by people and by companies as part of that investment and that story of the future. Yes, we require the best of minds in design, in engineering, in architecture, in program management, construction, and technology. And we know those best minds will bring them to life. And we also know those great minds and those companies are right here within this room. And if they're not in this room, you in this room know who they are and who those companies are that are developing to become the best of the best in the future. So success is about creating those jobs, finding excellence in the small businesses and suppliers, and getting them to enter into the airport economy where the richness and the robustness is there in the future. To see those small businesses that through the airport opportunities can become medium, and the medium-sized businesses through the opportunities presenting itself over the next decade can become those large businesses. And we know that in our sector, when you've worked with one airport and you've been successful, opportunities at many airports, not just in the country or North America, but globally, will also abound. So I would say that I hope that the message that you get from me here is to see those opportunities and realize that they can be very attainable and tangible. But we have to work together and communicate with each other around these opportunities. You know, this is very early stage. It was just a month or so ago that we announced the program, and we're in the planning stage. And so we ask that you follow us, stay connected with us. We're committed to that. And, you know, as we're doing the outreach, you know, please, you know, identify those great companies and those great people that are looking to change and to expand into careers that can be part of what we are doing in the future. You know, my parents told me that hard work is the mother of good luck. But so is timing, right? The right people being in the right place and at the right time can all do something very extraordinary. And I would say that, you know, for my parents who are immigrants from Nigeria, as well as from Jamaica, may they rest in peace, and that came from the most humble of beginnings in their lives. And through the journey and opportunity that travel and being able to immigrate here into Canada, and their commitment and their dedication, they have allowed myself and my siblings to achieve beyond their wildest dreams, beyond my wildest dreams. And for that, I'm grateful. But I'm also extremely grateful for the shoulders that I stand upon, the women and the men and the legacies of those who were better and greater and smarter, but who couldn't and didn't have the opportunity to push through the ceilings and the challenges that were presented. But they carved away. They created more of an opening and a path, and that is for all of us to do. I'm thankful for the support from the community, from those of you that were cheering and have been cheering for the airport and for what we're doing and the people of the airport during hard times, and now as we are on a journey of ascension into doing great things for this community, for our city, for our province, and for our country. I would say at the very beginning of this, but please consider and imagine the what if. The what if for your business, for your community, for our country, and how together we have an important organization like the Community Benefit Network of Toronto. We can fulfill all the possibilities, and that the airport for each of you can be more than just a runway to amazing destinations and to different countries and part of our country, but it can be a runway to prosperity, a runway to a greener future, and a runway to a brighter future. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Have a wonderful event. Thank you.